Hi, my name is Unity Faith Boyd, and this is my LGBTQIA plus sexual orientation presentation on the Stonewall Uprising. The Stonewall Uprising documents the June 1969 Stonewall riots that occurred in New York City, and it helps to place this in a broader context of the LGBTQ plus resistance and the organizations. This presentation will go over the Stonewall Uprising biases that are personal to me and how all of it fits in the lens of social services. Key points, key points of the documentary: um, LGBTQ plus life in the 1950s and 60s was criminalized and pathologized. There were police raids, undercover surveillance, and societal stigma that made bars and societal venues among the few gathering places for gay and transgendered people. The raid and uprising occurred in the early hours of June 28, 1969, when the police raided the Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village. The uprising involved a cross section of the community: drag queens, lesbian, gay men, homeless youth, and people of color, challenging later narratives that centered only white male leadership. Stonewall galvanized the LGBTQ plus organizing. Within months, activists formed groups such as the Gay Liberation Front and the Gay Activists Alliance. The film examines how newspapers and mainstream outlets portrayed the events, often sensationalizing or condemning participants, and how activists use media to shape public perceptions. Like the Stonewall Uprising situates the riots as a catalyst, not the sole origin of the modern LGBTQ plus rights movement. It emphasizing continuity within earlier resistance and ongoing struggles, including intersectional issues of race, class, and gender within the LGBTQ plus activism. Observing the Stonewall Uprising reinforced my perception of society's judgmental nature, where there is a tendency to impose expectations on how individuals should behave, um, to be accepted. I advocate for the right of every person to live authentically as long as their actions do not violate the law. My role as a social worker is to provide assistance to all, regardless of their lifestyle choices, even if I do not personally agree with them. Now, the LGBTQIA plus issues from a Christian worldview. The Christian worldview perspectives. This is very general. Many traditional Christians interpretations hold that sexual activity is morally permissible only within heterosexual marriages. Same-sex relationships are viewed as sinful or disordered. Some Christian traditions distinguish between orientation, not morally culpable, and behavior subject to moral evaluation, encouraging pastoral care, chastity, or celibacy for same-sex attracted persons. Progressive and affirming Christian interpretations read Scripture through historical contextual lenses, and embrace full inclusion of LGBTQIA plus persons in church life and marriage. Pastoral emphasis on compassion, care, and accompaniment, even when theological conviction leads to non affirming stances. Many pastors emphasize loving the person while maintaining doctrinal positions. Some institutional Christian positions support religious liberty claims. Social work values, as according to the NASW Code of Ethics. Service prioritizing helping people in need and addressing social problems without imposing moral judgments about clients' identities or consensual adult relationships. Social justice challenge discrimination and oppression against marginalized groups, including LGBTQIA populations, and promote equal rights. Dignity and worth of the person, respect inherent dignity, and seek to enhance clients' self-determination, identity, and well-being. Importance of human relationship, recognize that centrality of human relationships and support family and community connections as defined by clients. Integrity and competency provide services that are culturally competent to do not discriminate. Practitioners must avoid letting personal beliefs interfere with professional duties. Biases and potential impact on social work practices include, but not limited to, moral evaluations of same-sex relationships, perceptive sexuality ethics versus client self-determination, and religious liberty versus anti-discrimination. Practical reconciliation strategies, adopt a role, clarity, and boundaries. Social workers who hold personal non-affirming beliefs should use professional boundaries and refers to clients when necessary, but ensure referrals are to competent, non-judgmental providers and not to options that will harm the client's right or well-being. Cultural humility and reflective practice. Engage in ongoing self-reflection, supervision, and training to prevent personal theology from adversely affecting assessment or service delivery. Partnering with faith-based and LGBTQIA+ organizations, create collaborative networks where affirming faith communities and social services co-design programs that both respect religious conviction and protect clients' rights. Policy-focused advocacy with nuance. Advocate for anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQIA+ clients while supporting narrowly drawn religious accommodations that do not produce harm. Client-centered ethics training for faith leaders and practitioners. Offer joint training that teaches pastoral caregivers and social workers about ethical obligations, legal duties, and the best practices for LGBTQIA+ clients to reduce conflicts in real-world practice. In conclusion, Christian perspectives on LGBTQIA plus issues are heterogeneous. Some align closely with social work values, compassion, service, dignity, while others, traditional sexual ethics, claim to refuse service. Create ethical tensions. Reconciliation in practice requires clear professional boundaries and cultural humility, collaborative partnerships, and policy advocacy that center client well-being and rights. And that is the end of my presentation, and I thank you for your time.